Hey, Devon Digital here, and we're here to talk about the Nuu N10. Now, there's a few things I want to say about this phone, and we're going to just start with the design first. I was like, when I opened this thing out of the box, I was completely blown away by the design. Now, this design that you see is a very familiar design, and it's been my favorite design for a couple of years now. And I'm glad that other OEMs are actually adopting this design, this squared off look. And this phone feels incredible. It's light. It feels like brushed metal on the side. It has matte back. This is what I want for other phones to actually have, is like, especially like the matte back. You cannot lose against having a matte back and matte sides and just matte everything around the phone. So I want to say that the design of this is like well built. It looks good. It feels good in the hand. The edges have like well, not really edges, it's like a curved edge, so it feels really good in your hand when you're holding it like this. A lot of people have issues when they're holding phones like this and it's cutting into their hand and everything like that, but this doesn't do it. So I will give this design a 10 out of 10, like hands down 10 out of 10 for the build quality. And just wow. Now, what is like using this device? Well, I want to say the only issue for me using this device as my daily driver was really the performance. The performance wasn't the best performance, but at a price tag that this phone is being offered at, you can't expect like top tier. And you know, for somebody that you want to give this phone to, like a friend or a child or somebody like that, I think it'd be pretty good as, you know, as a good phone, everyday phone. You know, you can definitely get on your social apps, you can browse. It actually has a 90 hertz display, which is a big plus for me because I don't like anything less than, you know, 90 hertz. I mean, 60 and all that stuff like that is considered to be not so good to me, or it really feels laggy. But again, back to the performance of this is, it's decent. It's not like the best. It's not going to give you that flagship performance that you've seen in other phones and everything like that, but it is a good daily driver phone. If you needed a phone on a budget, this is the one. I mean, this is the one. I mean, by design alone, it feels like a flagship. It doesn't really act like a flagship inside with the guts and everything like that, but it feels like it. And man, just holding this in the hand, it just feels really good. I know I already talked about the design already, but man, I just can't help it. But yeah, I would say the performance would be the only letdown in this, because everything else that this phone offers, I think, is pretty good. Now, while we talk about that, let's talk about the camera a bit. The camera on this device is a everyday shooter. It's not, again, it's not something that you're go out here and try to be the next, you know, Picasso out here painting pictures with your cameras and stuff like that, or whatever, you know, creating crazy art and all that stuff like that. It's more of like a, let me capture this moment, let me remember this memory, and let me capture this. This is that type of phone. Most phones today are really good at capturing those moments, those vacations, and those special times and all this stuff like that, for you to look back and remember those things by looking at the photos. And I would say that on that level, this is just like that. But I want to say there's a little twist to this, because it actually offers pro features in here. You actually have a pro mode where you can actually dial in everything that you need from your ISO, your shutter speed, and your aperture. Well, not really more so the aperture, but you know, everything else. And I find that pretty interesting on a phone this, you know, this cheap. Most phones don't offer those type of settings when it comes to the price tag. You got to buy like the highest of the highest to get those type of features. So I want to give a big shout out and big plus to Nuu for allowing, you know, some of us phone camera enthusiasts to actually have these type of settings to dial in. And it has a RAW mode. I would say the only thing that's really missing in this camera would be having RAW. It does JPEG, it doesn't do RAW, but having the Pro mode is still good, because some people kind of don't want to know how to learn how to edit. So therefore, you know, actually controlling the camera in a Pro mode using JPEGs while you're dialing in how you want the picture to look, the JPEGs will, well, the phone will process the JPEG for you to give you a better overall look, so you can share it to social media. So, you know, not really bad, but could be better. Now this phone does have biometrics. It has the face unlock and it also has the fingerprint reader, and it has it in a perfect spot. It has it right here on the power button, which I wish that every phone kind of did. And the under display fingerprint is cool and everything like that, but I kind of like it in the power button. So kudos to them for doing that. I really don't use the face unlock. Mostly with these Android phones today, face unlock just doesn't work in like low lighting conditions. So sometimes I don't even bother, because when I unlock my phone, I'm in the low light situation, it just automatically tries to find my face first, and then it just goes into that whole mode like, here's your face, use your fingerprint. Like, I should have just turned it off, because I should have used my fingerprint in the first place. So hopefully, later in life, some of these OEMs will start putting some type of go back to putting it in there. I guess the infrared type scanner or whatever it is that they use to unlock our phones at night or whatever like that. I know back in the days, a lot of Android phones had it, but now they're removing them. So I want them to kind of bring them back, but you can't expect something like that in such a cheap device. But at least the fingerprint reader is here, and it got the correct one, and it works 99% of the time. Now, I've been reviewing new phones for a while on this channel now, and I always said this about them, that they always kind of cater towards like stock Android. So if you're one of those people who love like the stock Android experience, like myself, this will be a great device for you on a budget or whatever, because I love the elements of just having stock Android. It's clean, it's smooth, it's fast and stuff like that. And they always offer like, a little bit above it or a little bit under it in most of their phones. It varies device what you get, but sometimes you will get a little bit better features, or sometimes they'll strip a little bit away. But either or is the overall stock experience that I actually grown to love, and I really enjoy it. So when it comes to the OS, and it's running Android 14 straight out of the box, so that's always a good plus right there. So if any phones moving forward, they're going to have the latest software for yourself. So I love that about them. I do want to bring up one more thing that kind of disappointed me in this, and that was the speakers. The speakers sounded really teeny. Like, they just really kind of went, the opposite direction of the speakers with everything else as far as the build quality and stuff like that. But it's very teeny. But I'm not a person who uses my phone speakers much anyways. I'm known to connect it to Bluetooth, or I'm actually watching stuff on something else much larger that gets louder and stuff like that. But on the go, if you were carrying this phone and you needed to watch something, I suggest that you use a Bluetooth, because the speakers are not really that great, and I wish they were a little bit better, but they're not. Most of their other phones, they really do a good job with the speakers, but this one is just not so. And the last thing I want to bring up is that the battery life. The battery life on this device has been all day. Like I say in most of my videos, I'm a very minimalistic person when it comes to using devices. I'm not really hardcore in these things, so the battery life on this has been solid. I made it through the whole entire day, and I had no hiccups. I never had to run to a charger or try to find a charger or anything for that matter. I just used the phone, and by the time I was finished my day, I was at home already, and it still had plenty of juice. But me, I just kind of still throw phones on the charger, because if I'm not going to be using it, it's just going to be sitting on the charger while I go play my video game or do something else like that. So I want to say that the battery life on this is pretty good. I haven't tested any screen on time numbers or whatever. Normally I don't run tests like that a lot. I just kind of like one of those people who unplug in the morning time, use my phone, and plug it up at night. And if I had to do in between plugs, that's when I'll bring up like, well, I made it to this, from like just say 8 o'clock in the morning to 1 o'clock, and then I had to plug it up a little bit to make it to the rest of the day. But that hasn't occurred. So therefore, to me, this is all day battery, and I really enjoy it. So if you want to see more content like this and you enjoyed this video, please hit that like, share, subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.